All right. Thank you so much, Owner and Jonathan, for this wonderful presentations. I see a couple of questions that are coming in. And if we have time remaining, I would also like to open up the floor to any of the participants who would like to ask some questions. But before that, Jonathan, I have a question for you. So the number one question I see over here is, what are the factors that goes into the decision making on air filters, and what affects the product selection?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the first and most important is the room size, the volume of the room, the length, the width, and the height. So we can get the required number of air changes per hour. Also, any health related concerns. What is the room being used for? Is it going to be more exposed to some sort of chemical or some sort of health or pathogen? Uh, so if we look at the different rooms, the floor space, obviously, the volume within the room layout, the furniture, what's within the room. And again, as we talked about before, the risk, it's healthcare versus assisted living versus classrooms. So when we talk about air changes per hour, typically, if we look at a residential or a classroom or an office space, it's 4 to 6 air changes per hour. Hospitals, isolation rooms, and the like, closer to maybe 12 air changes per hour. And then laboratories and clean rooms could be over 20 air changes per hour. So it really does depend on what the end use is going to be. And then, are you in a position where you have multiple rooms or connected spaces or the types of spaces that might need advanced artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things capability? Then the higher end solutions would be the right answer.
Wow. All right. And the next question we have is, where are these products made?
Well, that's another great question. We feel very strongly that USA made is best. Ours are made in the USA, and right now, our advanced LabTech products from GT are made in South Korea, and we're looking at hopefully getting a production facility in the US as soon as possible. I think it has a lot to do with the manufacturer's history also. I think it's important to remember that you want to keep people and work with companies and manufacturers that will be here for the long term.
Good. The next question we have is, when to replace these filters?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. And again, not trying to be coy or anything, but that really depends on the system type and the filters and the capacities. And remember, it's not just the filters for these systems. There's also the UV light bulbs that do decrease in efficiency over time. And when they get dirty, there's also the pre-filtration as well. So depending on the unit, and if the pre-filter is cleaned regularly, and if we're looking at the pre-filter cleaning, I mean, an animal health type environment where there's a lot of dander and hair and feathers and the like, we can see those being cleaned bi-monthly. For a residential type application, we could see it maybe once a year even. And then when we get to the HEPA filters, again, it depends on the construction of the unit itself. If it's UV light first, we've seen HEPA filters last up to 5 years because there is somewhat of a risk of having the HEPA filter become something of a platform for the growth of bacteria and the like. So for those that had the UV light first, the HEPA filter again could last conceivably up to 5 years. For the other construction, probably about a year, maybe 2 years as a rule. UV bulbs, on the other hand, they could last up to maybe 12,000 hours. Could be about a year, maybe even 2 years for 24-hour use in those type systems.
That's pretty good. And the next question I have is, talk to me about the construction and the material of the device.
Okay, another great question. And that really relates to longevity. There's a lot of home units, we'll put it, many of them made overseas that are plastic. Now, those tend to be the more HEPA like type filtration. They use very small filters, very limited HEPA capability. Most of them have a charcoal component to it. Very few, if any of them, have the UV lighting, at least have enough UV lighting to actually make a difference. So we tend to be much more focused on the steel made units, metal, powder coated versus painted metals, always better so they don't rust. Because the high-end systems used every day, 24/7, these can last up to 30 years or more with just a replacement of the filter and normal cleansing and upkeep of the units. Now, we've heard stories from some very high-end healthcare institutions, which will go unmentioned in this presentation, that they bought the inexpensive, cheap plastic overseas units. They're already broken. They're already in the closet. They're not doing their job. And that has been sort of a major, major problem.
Wow. And the next question is pretty interesting, which is it says in the chat that I've heard about the government reimbursement. Is that real? And before you dive in, I would like to chime in and say that I know there has been some elementary schools, universities, and colleges. They have been taking advantage of the grants money and the funding provided by the U.S. government for the ESSER funding, which they could be utilized by September 30th for this year. However, there's still another tranche of funding that's going to start next month, and which will fall under American Rescue Plan, and that will be available until September 30, 2024. So you can utilize that money. It's provided you by the government for you to improve your indoor air quality. So that covers the HVAC system as well as all the air purifiers, all of the medical grade air purifiers. With
Right.
that
And
said, Jonathan, you can chime in.
yeah,
And
and that's for K through 12 and higher education, which really means that if you have a laboratory or a health facility or a research facility that's within an educational institution, you can take advantage of these reimbursements through government grants. And we think it's very important that you do, because, I mean, literally, it's free money for you. Now, what about for everybody else? I have heard, and I think, Taha, you may have done some research on assisted living in nursing homes and whether they can get a reimbursement as well.
so for the assisting living and the nursing home, they can get up to $3,000 for an air purification system.
Good. No, that fits within the budget for the commercial units. Absolutely. So that's real money that can be saved and get people safe. On the other hand, we are also on a state and local government and education buying service called TIPS. It's TIPS-USA.com. TIPS-USA.com. And that is a master procurement agreement to be able to buy all of our products, whether it's the commercial products or the very high-end laboratory projects, at a discount. We also have commercial leasing available. Now, this tends to be for the larger products, the multiple units, the larger systems, the more advanced systems, because there are some financial issues associated with that. But that's another great, great opportunity to be able to get these products quickly and not have to plunk down a huge slug of money right at the beginning.
That's correct. So the next question is pretty interesting, and it's regarded the GT sign products. So someone is asking, like, what makes these GT products stand out compared to the other ones in the market?
They are a very customized product. I think the core issues relating to the GT products are they have all the qualities of the commercial products that we talked about, but they are interconnected on an Internet of Things type network for truly a building-wide solution. So you can literally tie together groups of between 9 and 10 different rooms, say laboratories, throughout the building. So we can tie these together and we can closely monitor what's happening within the air quality and the air filtration systems throughout a large section of a building. In addition to that, this same management and monitoring system has complementary equipment like refrigerators, fume hoods, chemical and reagent stocking and stockpiling and management of various types of chemicals and reagents. And they have alarm settings so that in a higher risk type of environment, when something goes haywire, the people in charge can be aware of that, whether it's on their phone, whether it's locally, whether it's tied into the building management system. It is a true integrated type of artificial intelligence system. And again, as you said, as we said, it's not the scary, as owners, it's not the scary AI. It's the AI that just pays attention to what's happening across a wide variety of equipment in very specific spaces. So the GT still has the core products of the more basic HEPA, UVC, and charcoal filtering, which we can have at a number of different levels. And these are wonderful systems that work even in conjunction with the commercial systems as well.
Well, that is a pretty comprehensive system. So it looks like it's a one-stop shop for you to manage all of your lab day-to-day activities and also get notification when there's lab leaks and stuff. So you are doing a more
Yeah.
proactive approach, which I like. Pretty
Right,
good.
and automatically cleansing the air of some of the more some of the scary toxic gases, whether it's everything from 3D printing all the way to various chemicals and reagents and the like. That right now, and the one slide that I particularly wanted to bring up that the owner was talking about was the this unit for police stations where right now you'll see investigators and the like literally have these little bags of horrifyingly dangerous drugs like fentanyl and just opening them up and exposing themselves and everyone around them to these types of really, really scary types of powders. So it's not just a matter in laboratories, it's healthcare, it's corrections, it's anywhere you have these types of really scary types of powders and gases.
Oh, pretty scary stuff. I would definitely make sure I have one in my facility. All right. So the last question we have over here is that I manage an assisted living facility. So should I be putting these in every room?
Oh, that's a good question. And our experience is that we really look at these in the common areas that need to be protected: the lobby, the dining, the game room, the TV areas, the mailbox stations, the exercise areas. And then what I would least like to put out on the floor is maybe having two or three of these rolling units that you could bring into a resident's room when they become ill. So we use these devices right now to literally create a hospital grade isolation room within healthcare buildings. So we could also create essentially an isolation room in nursing homes and assisted living to allow the residents to be supported so that people can come in there with a limited amount of risk and that they can keep their partner in the room and keep them close by so they're not completely isolated, and we're constantly cleaning the environment.
That's pretty good. And with that, I don't see any other questions that are
Well,
coming in.
I saw a question that just came up on my email, as a matter of fact, relating to animal health, and that is a particular area that is sort of quasi. It's sort of in between the commercial units and the higher end laboratory and healthcare GT units. But the response there has just been incredible because of all the hair and the feathers and the dander and the allergens all floating around. And this will definitely pick that up. Also, with the COVID, again, it's a healthcare related environment. So you will have pathogens within this environment as well. But the most direct and easiest to comment on is the odor. So our systems have anywhere between 6 and 15 pounds of activated charcoal within them. And so the response we literally got from a recent veterinarian hospital was that it doesn't smell like a vet clinic. Even during some of the more advanced procedures, and they loved it. So it was just a huge payback there for the animal health environment.
That's pretty exciting because I know it gets spelled really bad over there. So it's really exciting. With these technologies, you can eliminate the odor, make sure your employees and the people that are working or the customers, they can breathe fresh, clean air. With that, I would like to open up any of the participants who would like to unmute themselves and ask any of the questions to our panelist, Jonathan, or owner over here is welcome to do so. Or you can also put them in the chat. And if no one has any questions, you can reach out to us. Let me share the screen with our contact information. So if anyone has any questions, need more information, need links, they can just shoot us an email and we will get you all of the information that you need.
Yeah, that'd be great. No, we're very excited about this. We're very excited about this product. It really made a big difference. Products, plural, they really made a big difference through COVID. And as everybody knows, there's new variants coming up every day. So the risk may not be as acute, but it certainly hasn't gone away. So we feel very strongly that these systems should be used in every environment 24/7. As we talked about with some of these other solutions that you've read about, some of them are kind of meh. They really don't work that well. Some of them you really don't put in occupied rooms for long periods of time, so that once this particular solution is removed, so is all the ability to disinfect and clean the air. So we want to make sure that these units are robust and can operate 24/7 every day for many years to come. So when you make a commitment to these, you'll be happy with them, and they'll be cleaning the air and solving problems for you day in and day out. Owner?
Yeah, thanks, John. Also want to mention, as John mentioned in the slide, you can't control who is wearing the mask properly, who is taking it off when, who is disposing the mask properly. You can, however, control the quality of air in your facility. And this definitely demonstrates like a much higher success rate than masks.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And the studies have basically shown that, and people in the industry know that as well. Anyone with facial hair, it's just going to go be past the mask. You'll notice that the hospitals that you go into all have specialized area to fit masks very securely. And there are specialized HEPA filter masks that go above and beyond the N95 masks that would be proactive and work well, but they have their problems as well. And so, now that the mask mandates are off, I think the risk is still there, and this is a great way to mitigate that risk.
Very well said. All right, so if we don't have any questions coming in, thank you everyone for your participation on this webinar. Really appreciate it. And like I said again, the numbers right in front of your screen. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call us, email us, and then you can also visit our website, which is www.labtechair.com. So www.labtechair.com. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.